Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Anthony. You know, when I was young growing up, man, a lot of people went to church. I mean, it was just more natural back then. And, sometimes it wasn't a question to ask if someone was going. It was just expected that everybody was. And a lot of times they went Wednesday, Sunday morning, and Sunday night. Of course, in the beginning, the crowds were, they were less on Sundays and sometimes Wednesdays, but most of the time, Sunday morning was the biggest crowd, Wednesday evening was the second, and then the other, Sunday evening. But over the years, the churches have declined, the attendance has declined. America has just turned its back on the things of God, and then you wonder why your politicians are doing some of the crazy stuff they're doing. You have to be in a position that the people have to be in prayer. The people have to be seeking God. You got to be running after the things of God. And these days, I've talked to people, it's like, do you know Jesus? And it's like, isn't that something about Christmas? In other words, it's a nation that doesn't even know. So what's happened in America is we actually operate in sort of like a displacement. So as more and more people have walked away from the things of God, walked away from church, walked away from Christianity, what it did is it's allowed space in the spiritual realm for other things to come in. And so a lot of ways we want to blame our politicians for the condition that America is in, but the truth is the church didn't take the stand that it needed to, and also it allows heresy doctrines into the church, and some people just, it gets worse and worse and worse. And then the money thing, the tithe, the offering, people like they complain about giving the money, but then there's also a lot of pastors out there who just go wacko on the money, and the church. But, you have to find yourself a real church that's really concerned about the things of God and moving forward. The Word of God very clearly talks about a great falling away. And I listen to some pastors and ministers and teachers, and they say that day is coming. No, it's already came. There's a lot of people in this nation, this once more godly than it was nation. And so there's things that have grown and come up that it wasn't outspoken and standing out like it is now. Pedophiles, stealing wives and kids and women and all this other stuff. It's just a different world. And then the fact that in some places, some of these judicial judges, it's like they're protecting things that common sense, you look at it and that's not of God. This is not a good thing. And I've also heard teachings from some of the pastors about about the illegals, that, they need to be allowed to do this, Christian brothers. You're full of crap. Have you actually read the Old Testament and some of the warnings God gave Israel on the quote-unquote illegals of the day? They were actually the aliens coming into a nation, but they said not to mix with them. And then there's rules and laws about aliens coming in to the people of Israel. They weren't allowed to do what they wanted. They weren't allowed to worship what they wanted. They had to adapt to the country or to the people they entered in. And here we're trying to adapt to the world. So America has basically got full of cancers and several different type of cancers, and it is just dying. And some of the presidents like Obama brought in large groups of people and to help the cancer spread and to just hurt this nation and take away the Christian walk. Why is the UK afraid of prayer? There people are getting arrested over prayer. I've been watching videos. You're afraid of prayer? Well, yeah, the devil is afraid of prayer. He knows and is very aware that if the Christian church giant in America got off its lazy butt, if it started hitting the altars, which you can't find those in a church these days, there's steps, they don't want to call it an altar. If but the church, congratulations, baby. You're going to be in a position here soon. You're going to be on your knees. You're going to be on your crying out to God, and a whole bunch of people will, because it's all you're going to have. This thing is decaying. This America is falling apart. The lights could go out. There are so many things how they could attack this place and turn off the power. Where are you going to be without power? Turn off your phones. Where are you going to be without phones? What are you going to do if there's not much food on the shelf? Are you actually going to have the ability to go, God, we thank you that you can increase these 5 loaves and these fishes? You know, you're not, most of you don't even pray over your meal. How are you going to believe God for increase of food on your table if there ain't none? A lot of times I look around at a table and I ask them to pray. They're sitting there and they can't do it. If you can't do it, God can't, he can't help you. You know, you have not because you ask not. I mean, you can learn. It's going to be a prayer of desperation, not a prayer of faith, a prayer of last resort, reaching out to something. You know, it is, you got to build that relationship with Jesus Christ now, the Word of God now. Your church may suck. Find another church. Find a church where everybody is wanting to be hungry for the things of God. They're not like, you watch just a football game, and some of you got the religion of boat and beer. Oh, I'm a good person. No, you're not. You suck. You're a good person in your own mind. You're a good person in your own beliefs. But see, your beliefs in the things of God don't count. When you say, I'm a good man, there was only one good. That was Jesus. The rest of us are saved by grace. We are giving our souls, our hearts, and we ought to be running every day. It's like running after a relationship every day. When we wake up during the night and, you know, the first thing you want to do is like give God praise. I got life. I'm getting up to go to the bathroom. I'm getting up to do something. Lord, here am I, Lord. There's got to be a constant praying out to God. America deserves its misery. It really does. From the past people who have just turned away and walked away. Is there more than 10 righteous people in America? Yes. There's hundreds and there's thousands. You know, do you want to be an overcomer? You want to be a man, a woman of God, you're going to have to drink the cup, baby. You're going to have to, I mean, yeah, you're going to go through some, see, it's not when everything's going good. Oh, I don't want to do it. No. It's when life sucks. It's when it's difficult. That's the challenge. That's when it's really a challenge to believe a believer. You know, it's so easy. Life has been good. We've had plenty of food. A lot of things have been good in America. People have gotten whacked out and weird, but it's still, overall, it's still good. Most of us don't go hungry. Most of us have the lights on and we have some money and we can go to Walmart and a few other things. But soon, there might be a day here soon. There ain't going to be a Walmart. Shelves empty, or at least sections of them empty. This Christmas has a high possibility that you're not going to be able to go buy what you want. And even if you had the money, you might not be able to afford it because of inflation. A lot of cargo containers. You know, China was already in trouble with their workers, their population. We don't even know what the whole truth is on China and the depopulation. I mean, you know, you were under Biden. You could have taken over Hong Kong in a heartbeat. He wasn't going to do anything. There were a wimpy bunch of people. And they might have started a war, but it wouldn't have been much of one. China could have just marched all over us. Something was wrong that they didn't have the ability to take over that place close by. Whereas Trump, he might just blow the hell out of you. You know, here we got India and Pakistan. You think these guys really know what they're doing? America has been at war for a long time. Our American soldier has phenomenal skills. They just need backing and equipment to do their job. And we need a president that believes in them, because the American soldier is like the scariest thing on the planet. But we need Christians, because the believers should be the scariest thing on the planet. UK is afraid of a prayer. What does that tell you? America, you better get to praying, because you better pray today, because you still got food and there's still daylight. But tomorrow the darkness is coming, and you better get off your ass and go to work. Sorry. Some people don't like it when I use that, but that's how bad it is. Yeah, the Christian church is about ready to change, and we don't even have the skills to pray that the hand of God move upon this nation. And so many pastors have chosen false doctrines that they're just, it's like wrapping a rubber band around the balls of a goat. You know, that's what we had to take care of our baby goats, because they were just too big of a pain in the butt, and, you know, they start causing problems. So we had to castrate them. And a lot of pastors, you've been castrated. But there are true men and women of God wanting to stand and do the right thing. Wake up, church. You're going to wake up. The soldiers are getting ready to stand. You're going to be sharpening your swords here soon, and you're going to deal with the difficulties that are coming your way. I hope we all stand for the challenge that we are good servants of Jesus Christ, and we stand up and we become the men and women of God that we're supposed to be, that I become the men and men of God that I'm supposed to be. Get ready for tomorrow.